So today we have the pleasure of meeting and talking with Michael Knott Palmer. We are here from the international news. My name is Sir Roger Martin. We are doing a survey on gangsters in the world, in America. And your name that came up. We was watching in the interview with the Beat 139 Harlem's #1. And we just want to know some things about yourself. Shoot, man, tell me about yourself.
Well, I'm British Jamaican, and in 1989, I came to this country at the age of 7 years old, and just like anything, there's a culture shock. But I'm gonna get right to the point. Normally, I don't really want to talk about prison because I'm on a proactiveness, and my whole thing is to talk to the youth and try to resonate to let them know. I know nobody want to hear about that, especially when the youngsters today, they're in the streets and they're making money. It's hard for them to really, for somebody. So I just really wanted to, I don't want to glamorize the penitentiary either, because at one time, at least when I was there, it was guys was trying to go to the penitentiary, go to jail, go to Rikers Island to try to get stripes. And that's not the way to do that, you know, and that's a misconception of everything, you know, and these youngsters right now today, you don't have to do that no more. Because back then, what minimum wage was $5 to $7. So therefore, if you doing a surplus hustling, then it was justified. Today, they have upgraded the pay raise. There's guys that's doing it legally. Since I came out, society has changed tremendously. So, when I got convicted at 25. We from New York and went to trial in Washington D.C. I was extradited. I was never arrested. But anyway, I was charged for the first super kingpin in Washington, D.C. before Rufus Edmond in 1989. I'm not going to get too in depth I'm just going to touch a lot of things surfacely, like I told you all before we start this. I ended up it was 5 of us, we were all from New York. It was this fake war on drugs. They wanted to make an example. We wouldn't become government informants. We went to trial, we all got life. We were young men. My first designation was Leavenworth. While I was in Leavenworth, you know, the council called me and told me, don't get comfortable. New York is going to hit me with the money laundering. So I was scared, not going to lie to you, because in trial, they tried to tell me about an incident that happened in Texas, and they wanted to extradite me. They was talking possible capital punishment. But one thing the judge said, and I thank God, the judge said, if you don't have enough evidence for this man by 10 o'clock, I don't want to hear about it. So I thank God again. That's why I said you're going to hear me talk about God throughout this whole journey, man. And I don't believe in swoop God, but I believe in God. Every man has to change at his time. I got convicted. Is there some questions specifically? Because,
Absolutely,
like I said, I'm saving. I don't want to give too much away because there's a lot of things I got planned for future. But
absolutely. You can keep that.
You have something on your mind, sir.
But so you know, we've come in contact with other guys and things that we've done a little research on, and know different people and stuff like that. And I know that 34 years is a long time, so I'm pretty sure you came in contact with a lot of people. I just want to touch up on a few people, see who you know, who you came in contact with, anything like that. I just want to throw some names out there and
all right.
See. Do you know Preacher?
Yes, I know Preacher. Not personally, but I met Preacher. I have a co-defendant at the time from Harlem. His name was Tony Hood, Tony Flo. And one night, we was in my car in my Benz, and we drove down. And he had a limousine. He was doing what he do. He's a known gangster in Harlem that he was doing extortion. I met him again in Coleman, and he tried to talk to me. And I told him when he did that Queens for a Day, we have no rap. I said, I'm on a yard one time. I came here. I said, I'm not trying to get into what you're getting. So he said, no, I just want to talk to you. I want to explain something to you. I said, you don't owe me no explanation. I said, when you went and did Queens for a Day, you stripped all legacy that you had. And he said, yo, you're right. Because anybody that knows Preacher knows that they call him Pop in his immediate circle. And I'm going to leave it like that. Go ahead.
How about Guy Fisher? I know.
Well, Guy Fisher was very, like I said, I met Guy Fisher through Joe Sherman, who they call Big Joe.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first guy he introduced me to. And I was amazed and fascinated with him because there's a slim dude and he just kept moving. It seemed like he had no worry in the world. So one day, I asked him, I said, Mr. Fisher, could you give me some jewels and tell me how you do this? I told him I just got married. I'm young. He told me specifically, he said, look, forget about the marriage thing. All you can be is friends with a woman. He said, I'm going to tell you 3 things. Educate yourself, learn your legal work, and stay out of prison politics. Mm-hmm. And I ran with that.
What about Bill Underwood?
Good man. I didn't know Bill Underwood. Bill Underwood comes from the vigilante case from the streets. He's from Harlem. Good man. I met Bill Underwood in Terry Hut. I didn't know that one of his co-defendants, while I was in the streets, I was dealing with him. When I got shot, he came to the hospital to see me. It wasn't until I got in the penitentiary that I met Bill Underwood. Bill Underwood, he impressed me. It was Bumpy Knuckles. His brother name was Shaq. His brother was at Terry Hut with us. His brother was what's his brother's name? Taladine. No, anyway, Bumpy Knuckles, the rapper, he wrote Shoot for Salt and Pepper. And his brother called his brother that was with us in the pen. He had 5 years for a gun charge. And he told him Bill Underwood was here. He said, yo, go ask Bill. Bill said to him, I went over there, Taheem, his name was Taheem, Bumpy Knuckles' brother. And I'm talking what I heard. This was what I seen. Bill Underwood was a gentleman, number one, because the Guineans, the Italians, they respected him tremendously. He ate at the table with them, but he chose not to sit there. He took what they did and they bound. But I don't know what he did. He went over there. We left from F block and went to C block to see Bill. Bill says, what is in it for me? Just like, if you was in the music industry or in the streets and you introduce a dude to money, you got to give him some bands. Bill, he quoted his price. He went back to his brother. Bill said, come back and see me Sunday. Mark you, we went there Wednesday. He called his brother on Friday. His brother said, I don't know what he said to Queen Latifah and Shakim, but they renegotiate my contract and they told me the figure. They renegotiate my contract and I'm getting my royalties. That's when I realized how strong Bill Underwood arms were stronger than the arms in the baking soda box. Let me say that.
What about his name? Walter John, aka also known
King
as Tut.
Tut. Oh yeah, I know Tut real well. Tut was up north with my brother. I met Tut in Lewisburg, and as any man that's been locked up and walk a journey of change, Tut was on a different mission. That's what I'm going to say. Every man has changed, and that's what I'm going to say. As you see, he's out there and he's consistently doing what he's doing. I'm not going to go no further. Like I said, I really don't want to talk about prison antics, but I know him, and he's doing good. He's out there. He went out there. He got the judge pardon his case. That was a blessing. That was a hell of a blessing.
So what about Jimmy the Henchman?
Jimmy the Henchman, I don't know personally. I was in Hazleton with Jimmy, and Jimmy was in he was in a program, and I heard Jimmy turned Muslim, Sunni Muslim. They moved Jimmy from one side to my side, and there was a discrepancy. You see, inside the federal penitentiary, if you're not gang member, the next thing for the other guys in the tri-state, Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Boston, Philadelphia, New Jersey, the next thing is called a tri-state, where everybody comes together. Now, someone in the tri-state car had an issue with him being because of the rumors, the alleged rumors that he joined the A-team. And that's how that went, So I don't know what happened. It wasn't in my block, but the block it was almost, he and another car worked out something.
And, how about General?
Yeah, that's Barkey. Barkey from 90s. Anybody from Brooklyn know the 90s massive. You have Barkey, you have Copper, you have Mikey, you have Tree, and I left Copper and Lewis and Barker, Randy, Riley at Lewisburg. They call him the General. You know, good dude. Barky's a good dude. I'm proud of Barky because Barky got his GED and he got his college degree in law. So big up to Barky. You know, he's from Spanish Town in Jamaica, Yardman. You know,
Big up to him. What about another name here? That's come up. Prince Miller. I don't know.
Gerald Prince Miller. Yeah, he's
yeah.
from Queens, the Supreme Team. I didn't know Prince personally, but I can say, like I said, you know, I'm a realist, and I deal with a man, or I deal with a man. You hear a lot of things, but until I see something, I'm not gonna draw the card. When I got there, Prince was the one that, when they found out a new homie came on the town, because I'm from New York, I'm Jamaican. When you come on the compound, they direct you to your car. I was directed to the tri-state car. Because it is not just Jamaica. Everybody's part of something. I met him. We spoke. And Prince had got me a job in the gym. And my first altercation was with the Ice Tech, the Mexicans. I was doing my job cleaning. They had nothing but knives all around the place. So I'm moving the jacket. The dude started talking reckless. Back then I was more bigger. I was more brolic. I lived, you know. And we had some words. It was 10 of them, and I didn't care because of my time, I had a don't give a F attitude. I had a life sentence. I said, man, I don't give a damn. So Prince is the only one that stood up. I will say that. And from that day on, I started have a form of reverence for him from that day on. You know, he lived in B block, I lived in A block. No, I lived in B block, he lived in A block. But he's always been respectful to me, at least in front of my face. So that's what I can say, you know.
No, what about Boy George?
Well, Boy George, good dude. He's from the Bronx, from the Boogie Down, where I'm from. And Boy George and I was in Terry Hut. It was Boy George, Shamik, Fat Manny from the Meldez case. Fat Manny is dead now. Shamik is dead. And True God is dead. These are all co-defendants. And Boy George was there. They were the ones that came from MCC, New York, and they all was up in Otisville. But they came together, and while we were there, this when Boy George was on New York time. He represented New York, you know. And like I said, he was a good dude. A lot of good things while we were there, you know.
Yeah.
And he from the Bronx.
I was about to say the same thing. What about Body Move?
That's my brethren. Body Move is a yard man. They come from 90s. They're from the Rockford Massive. Rockford. It's Body Move, Norman Star. And yeah, up and now it passed away. But I know Norman Star and Body Move from street. Body Move now got out, he had a life sentence. Hey, big up to your Body Move. Respect and one love, brethren. Yeah, man? I try to link up with you still, big.
And how about it's a dude there named Cuff?
Oh, Cuff, yeah, Cuff is preacher's co-defendant. I mean, when we was all in Terry Hut in Lewisburg, you know, Cuff always, like I said, he carried himself. One thing I liked about him, he had a militancy with him. He real quiet, he worked out, stayed by himself. I didn't really get into his mix, but we were cordial as we moved on, respect, you know what I mean?
What about Dave Hyatt?
David Hyatt was a Jamaican. It was David Hyatt, Jimmy Henchman, and another brother. They're the one that started How Can I Be Down, that rap thing that spun off from when rap started. They're the ones that had that movement, How Can I Be Down, in Florida, when you had the Right On magazine, you remember, with the rap back in the days. David Hyatt, now he has passed away. He succumbed. He passed. He had cancer. He passed away. He had a life sentence. You know, he's another one that was a good dude. Bill Underwood knows him too. Knew him because David Hyatt was R. Kelly's manager when he came in.
Okay. What about Scooter?
Good dude. I know Scooter from Rikers Island back in the days when Scooter was small. Scooter's a good dude. Scooter's with the Poison Clan. You know, and Scooter was at Allenwood. He ran the yard, you know. When he left, that's when Prince stepped up. The yard was passed on to him. Spoody's a good dude, good man. Good man.
You got a dude here, Lugo.
Lugo, another good man. Lugo from the Lugo brothers. Lugo is home now. They had a murder for hire case, and he prevailed. You know, like I said, Lugo's home. I've met him a few times. Good dude. You know, I haven't spoken to him in a minute, but he was doing good.
And I know you spent some time in D.C. and there's some guy that really helped you out, and his name is Antoine White.
Oh man, Antoine White, good dude. Listen, man. Me and Antoine, we had the same lawyer, Kenneth Monday, and it's so crazy because Antoine and I was in Terry Hut, and we used to chop it up a lot, right? We used to talk and we used to discuss our cases, and we had similarities dealing with Kenneth Monday. I always kept through the grapevine to his brother was in Lewisburg with me, and I always send word. We send word through Riot, through other real men. Because one thing with DC dudes that I admire, they have unity. I don't care if you live, I don't want to be disrespectful, but if you live what you call that life, an alternative life, and you're doing other things, when that trumpet is blown, da 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 da, you better be on deck when it's battle time, because one thing DC do, boy, if you're not in battle and they beefing with another state, and it's over, when the feds, when they wrap up everybody else, they're doing their investigation, and I don't need to say what's left with that dude. You know what I mean? But Antoine White, it was his case, that I used